Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Holden Sherman's Conversations. Something you realize when you go to journalism school is that a lot of people who want to be journalists are student athletes because they not only have been interviewing people, they've also been the interviewed. Here with me to talk about that is a student athlete and an aspiring journalist, Ashley Robinson, GW student and also a cross country runner. Thank you so much for joining me, Ashley.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. This is my first question. There's like a live element of being on TV, and there's also a live element of being a performer, being an athlete. In what ways do those mindsets kind of merge?
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, a lot of people think it's very different, like being on TV versus competing, but there's a lot of thinking on your feet quickly. Especially in running, it really is a more like tactical sport than people realize, I feel like. There's a lot of strategy to it, and I think there's kind of that same element of strategy when you're live on TV. Just being able to kind of plan ahead, know what I want to do, whether it's in a race or it's on air. It really is very, very similar.
What are some of those elements that you like about it? Like any specific like planning elements of it, or just like what are certain things that really drive you?
Yeah, I mean, I love thinking through what I'm going to do and then executing it, whether it is on air or in a race. Like if I'm going on air, I kind of think through what I want to say, and then it's always really cool to be able to actually do it and to be proud of what I did. And it's that same thing in a race, whether I'm looking at who the competition is or kind of what my main goals are for the race, whether it is a race that I can win or it's a race that I at least want to get a personal record in. It's just such like a rewarding feeling for both of those things, being able to just kind of think about it before and then to go out and actually do it.
So with media, it's you're on your own. Like when you're doing your live shot, you may have your photographer, you may not, especially in small markets to start. But a lot of the times it's yourself, but then there's like a whole ensemble that's helping you get there. Is running that same element? I actually don't know. So
Yeah,
asking selfishly.
it really is. I when I'm racing, if I'm in a cross country race, I have six other people out there with me, if not more. But there's always at least six people. Track, it's a little different because it depends on kind of like the heat that we're in. So sometimes it could be just me, it could be a lot of my teammates. But even besides who's actually in the race, there's my coaches, there's athletic trainers, my other teammates. So there really is a whole team that goes into it as well. And you especially find that when you get to like the conference level meets and stuff like that. It's a lot more than just the individual athlete.
How does that kind of relate to being in a newsroom, especially because
Yeah.
you've been in two newsrooms? You were in ABC Sevens and then you're also in Fox 5 DCs, which aren't just hectic newsrooms, but they're in large markets where there's more of an expectation of the viewer, just like being a D1 athlete, there's more of an expectation for you as if you're a high school athlete or you're a D3 athlete. How do people in that environment kind of raise the stakes in both?
Yeah, there's a lot of communication that goes on, especially being a D1 athlete. I think that my teammates and I always need to be on the same page. I need to be on the same page with my coaches. And then I also just need to have a certain level of confidence within myself that I know what I'm doing, that I know what the plan is. And I think that's definitely something that you see in a newsroom. There's always communication going on, whether it's with other reporters, with producers, your news director. So I think it is actually very, very similar. Yeah, no, definitely. There's always a lot of communication going on because other teams, they're also going to be good at communicating. So you kind of need to find your own um plan, your own strategy, and you have to be on the same page as your coaches.
Do you ever have like a certain mantra or something that you use in times of crisis?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. I think my thing that I don't have like one specific thing, but when I'm racing, especially if it's difficult or when I'm doing like a tough story, I just tell myself that I can do it, that I'm confident in myself, even if I really feel like I have no idea what's going on. I just have to know that there's a reason why I'm doing it. There's a reason that somebody trusted me to do it and that they saw something in me, so I should see the same thing in me that I can do it.
Is there kind of in TV, they talk about this a lot. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. But there's
Yeah.
no faking it if you're a D1 athlete. You're there for a reason, right? You can be a reporter for some of the largest cable networks, and sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. Like there's no escaping that. Is that dynamic kind of weird because, and I'm going to talk about this more later, but preparation is everything in both of these two industries. But sometimes in media, you have to do things that you couldn't even fathom before.
Yeah, right. I will say, yeah, running, you can only fake so much of it because if
Yeah.
you didn't do the training, you're just not going to keep up. But at the same time, I feel like this year I've been put into a lot of bigger racing situations that I really haven't been in before, my freshman and sophomore years, especially for track. This was my first year running conference, so there is kind of an element of fake it till you make it in a way, where it's just trusting that you can be out there racing with these people. And I think that's where I saw a lot of breakthroughs in my racing, especially in the 5K this year and even in the 1500, which really isn't as much of my event. I'm more long distance, but it's kind of that element of, okay, I'm going to try to keep up with these people as long as I possibly can. And if I fall off, I fall off, but I at least know that I stuck myself in the race and put my nose in it a little bit. So it's kind of in a way that sort of same mindset where you just kind of have to trust that you can do difficult things even if you've never done them before. There's definitely less like faking it,
Yeah.
but it's more of just like letting yourself kind of take that leap and try to do something that you haven't done in a race before.
Does that make you more eager to be uncomfortable when it comes to new experiences? Because I think some people, oh, I want to just go cover my sport, or I just want to go cover music or food or whatever. Does this make you more eager to try new things because you can kind of understand the bigger picture a little bit better?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this year I definitely let myself get like uncomfortable a lot more, trying new things, especially like ABC 7, I did digital and I did the assignment desk, which I have never done before. So those were very new to me. But it was good to get those extra skills, especially today. I feel like in the journalism industry, you kind of have to be able to just do as much as possible. You have to be able to, even if you haven't done something before, you have to be willing to jump into it. And I've learned that I kind of like that feeling now when I do something that is uncomfortable and then I either succeeded in it or if I didn't succeed, I at least learned something new about it, learned something new about myself. So I think it is just like a really big aspect of today, especially moving forward in my career. Especially whether it's even just covering a new sport. This year I covered a lot of sailing, which I've never done before. I did that at GW, and that's something that they're saying all these words. I have no idea what they mean, but it's kind of cool just learning, okay, that was a good thing they did there. I'm gonna like make sure I post that online. But yeah, it's definitely being uncomfortable, I think is just a very, very good thing to be able to do consistently.
Yeah, and I think like I think I've been on both sides of the spectrum there where like, sometimes I'm scared to be uncomfortable and then sometimes I'm like, I want to dive in. I feel like leaning more towards, okay, whatever good happens is good or whatever happens is good because, I'm trying something new. I think is always just a healthy mindset to have because, we're all beginners at something. We all didn't know how to
Right.
walk to start.
Yeah, exactly. You have to learn just by doing it. So it's definitely I definitely get very anxious about a lot of things, but I try to just keep that to myself and not let it show at least so much.
Yeah.
Because if it does show, then whatever, I'm at least still trying it. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things I've kind of just learned by doing that it's okay to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. I want to talk about covering smaller sports because I saw you did a lot for the sailing team this past school year. Is there more eagerness to cover smaller sports? Not necessarily just because you're able to understand who these people are to a better
Yeah.
level than someone like me who isn't
Yeah.
a student athlete.
Yeah, I love it. Especially so at GW, our sailing team used to be a varsity sport. In 2021, they got cut with, I think, a couple of other teams due to Title IX. So it's really cool to be able to cover a team that isn't varsity anymore, but they're still operating like a team. They have less funding, they don't have a coach, they're completely student run. So it's cool to kind of see just how much they've been able to accomplish with given what they've been through. And also the fact that they're not one of our varsity teams, they're not receiving a lot of coverage. So there's a lot of opportunity for me to go to practices with the teams. Earlier this week, I was at their women's nationals event, which was really, really cool. Even the that was through the like national college sailing like governing body. I reached out to their comms team and they were happy to have me on board just doing video for the day. So it's really cool to kind of follow what they're going through and to make connections with them and to kind of learn what they're going through, how they've overcome it, and to be able to document it. I mean, everyone loves having coverage generally in the world of sports.
Yeah.
So it's been a really fun experience, and it's cool to kind of just follow how they're still growing as a team and how they're able to compete on a national level against other varsity teams while being a club sport at GW.
When you do stories with sports, especially in an environment like covering a school team when you go to that school, do you ever market to the people you're talking to that you are a student athlete? And do you think if so, do you think that changes your relationships or enhances your storytelling a bit? Just because I had a bilingual sports broadcaster on the podcast that I'm currently editing right now,
Yeah.
and she was saying that just adding a level of connectivity, speaking to people in other languages, just makes the storytelling that much richer. Is it kind of the same thing with you, a different level of
Absolutely.
communication?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't realize it at first, but as we get to talking, I kind of sometimes I'm able to bring it up. And I think that just leads to another level of connection because we all go to a lot of the same compliance meetings. We're at a lot of the same events. I'll see people like our end of the year, we have like an end of the year awards celebration. I saw a lot of people there, and it's really cool to kind of just develop those relationships with sources. This semester I was in a sports writing and reporting class, so that was really cool because I just got to learn a lot more from other athletes, not only about their sport, but about like what they go through in their sport on the day to day, what it's like, how it's similar to and different from cross country and track. I think it definitely opens up just a whole nother level of they're willing to tell me so much more because they know I get it too. They know I've been through similar things. So they probably tell me things that they wouldn't say to other student reporters, especially. And it's been just a really, really cool experience. I think they just get like a lot more responsive because they're like, okay, you know this, you like you can relate to me. So yeah, it's been a very cool experience for sure.
Yeah, I've contemplated throughout my life at some point going to culinary school because
Yeah,
like I said before we were recording, I've been cooking since I was 5. I'm a home cook, but I would like to
that's
say a more
awesome.
advanced one. But if
Yeah,
I ever want to talk to people like Gordon Ramsay or Bobby Flay or whatever, having
right.
that element of being like, hey, like I have some level of similarity to your experiences, I feel like, well,
Yeah,
realize that I'm there because I want to learn about them rather than, create great content. And I
yeah,
feel like that
exactly.
probably is the same. Well, you're actually doing it. This is just a figment of my imagination right now, and I haven't gone to culinary school, but probably has some done some good stuff for you.
That's awesome though. Yeah, I definitely recommend. It's just any level that you can connect with people, any sort of similarity, they definitely really latch onto that and they open up way more than you could expect them to.
Yeah, I want to talk about something that is very important in both professional sports, college sports, and in media, which is failure. You have to get used to it. You got to be
Yes.
comfortable with it. You got to be
Yes.
comfortable with being uncomfortable with it. Whether you didn't do as well in a race that you wanted to, or your live shot wasn't as good as you liked, how do you treat failure? Especially
Yeah.
because you have to be around it so much. If you're a D1 athlete, you must have failed a million times.
Yes. Last summer I actually had an injury in my shin. I had a stress reaction, and so I couldn't run until mid-July. And at the same time, our cross country team was getting smaller because of this like house settlement deal. Basically, roster sizes for a lot of sports are getting decreased. So we're allowed to have 14 people on the roster. So that's 14 people who can possibly race. Seven definitely will. If you're in that other seven, maybe. It just kind of depends on the meet. It's up to the coach's discretion. But so I was injured and I really wanted to race cross country. So there was not much I could do. I had to adapt. I had to do a lot of cross training. So that was going on the elliptical, swimming, biking. And then even after I got rostered for the season, I still, in a sense, failed in cross country. I didn't race very well. My second meet, I was coming off of having COVID, so it was hard to breathe during that. Didn't really have the performance I would have liked to, but you can't really let that get you down. You have to just use it as a reason to work harder, so that way the success will feel better in the future. In media, I've also failed, I feel like. I've definitely had those moments where I'm doing a shoot with GWTV and I'm like, wow, I really wish I would have said that a little bit differently, done something a little bit differently, changed my pacing, changed my tone. But you just kind of have to not let it get to you too much. You have to learn from it for sure. Learn what you can do better next time and just keep moving on.
Yeah, no. Does that help you be more patient? Because whether it's you're recovering from an injury or just trying to generally improve, there's no quick fixes.
Yeah.
I think all of us, especially like our generation, because of how much we're on these things,
Yeah.
want things immediately. We all want the $1 million right now.
Right.
We're okay with kind of like that slow grind a lot of athletes talk about.
Yeah, patience is really, really, really hard. It sucks. I didn't feel like I really had success this year until I hit like the end of the year. Like mid-April, I was finally like having these breakthrough races. And that's when I knew kind of why I had been working at this for so, so long. It's the same thing with media. I feel like I finally, this year, being able to get those internships that I couldn't get my freshman and sophomore years, being able to be at Fox 5 in the fall and then ABC 7 in the spring was something I definitely had to wait for. And also, when I go into a career, I'm going to be most likely starting in a smaller market. And that's also that element of patience, just being able to go through the process, work through it, but also enjoy the process as it's going and not get too caught up in what that end goal is, but enjoy the small successes along the way.
So you mean being okay being in the middle of Iowa or being in the middle of Wyoming and just realize
Yeah,
I
exactly.
want to
Wherever I'm
be,
at.
yeah.
Just take it, being patient with it, allowing myself to enjoy it no matter where I'm starting out at.
What is that mental juggle like? Being like, well, I want to be a sports broadcaster at some point, but I'm here now where I'm learning to be a sports broadcaster, but I am a college athlete. What is that mental balance like? How do you keep yourself sane?
Yeah, there is so much that goes on even in just a day, even in just a couple of hours. Especially this season, we were training into like almost finals. So we were having practices that were lasting
Oh
several
yeah, and then
hours.
you're being a student too. I didn't even mention that.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on with it, especially even this semester balancing an internship and practicing. I couldn't go to Thursday practices, but I still had to get my run in. So I'd intern from 9 to 5, and then as soon as I got back to campus, I'd change, go out on my run, and then try to get to sleep as early as possible and recover because we were having meets on Fridays and Saturdays. So it's definitely a lot at once. I really just have to take it one thing at a time. Here's where I'm at now. I'm a person that I love having my mental schedule for the day, and I'm like, oh, I have to go by this. This has to go this way. But kind of letting myself get over that and being okay with change because that's something that's going to happen in the journalism industry. No day is the same. I can't really have a plan for how things are going to go. So kind of letting go of that and just taking it one thing at a time, just focusing on where I'm at. It's definitely difficult. I'm definitely still learning how to do that. But I've improved at it this year for sure.
Yeah, you definitely, I can't speak for being an athlete. I played 2 years of JV basketball and then I played
Nice.
football 4 years. That's not nice compared to what you've done. But like in media, you don't know what's going to come every day, but you can mentally prepare for the things that you can't prepare for. So like
Yeah.
there's like a level of strategy to it where it's like, okay, this happens, this breaking news happens 20 minutes from where I am. I got to cut my live shot that I'm supposed to do on this story and I got to go over there, right? Like there's certain things that you can't you can't imitate the situation, but you can imitate how you mentally prepare for them. Is
Yeah.
that ever the case? Like whether you expect it to be sunny and it's raining, just like are there certain aspects of running that kind of apply to that as well? And what?
Yeah, so actually this year for conference, it was my first time racing the 10K. And we go out for our race. I'm like, okay, like I've mentally prepared for this for a long time. I'm ready. I'm just gonna stick with people as long as I can. My coaches are just kind of seeing how I'm doing in the event. There's not much pressure on me. But so we get through almost 5K and I'm actually doing pretty well. The race went out slower than I expected, so I was like, okay, great. Like I can keep up with these people for even longer. That's awesome. And then a storm alarm goes off, and it was the first time I've ever seen this happen, but they make an announcement. They say, hey, we have to get off the track. We're canceling this race right now. And so we go back inside, like none of us knows like what's going on. I had one other teammate in it with me. We're just kind of standing with our coaches, and they decide that we were going to run the race the next day. And my coaches both said, hey, if you don't want to do this, that's totally fine. You can scratch the event. Like we've already gotten so far into this race, you'll probably be sore tomorrow, whatever. And my teammate and I were like, well, we kind of want to try it, which was a really hard thing for me to say because I was like, I guess I've been building up to this for so long, but at the same time, can I do it the next day? So getting back to that start line the next day, and of course it was still raining the next day, but knowing that I had to restart from 0 meters and get to 10,000 was a difficult thing, but I think it's something that I just wanted to do for myself to know that I can get back out there even if something didn't go how I wanted it to, which was just really good mentally. And so next year, I know I can do hard things like that. I know Most likely, I won't have another race get canceled in the middle of it, especially when I'm almost halfway through it. So it's kind of similar with TV, where you don't know what's going to happen. If a live shot has to get cut, it has to get cut, even if you were really excited about it. Breaking news happens all the time now. So, yeah, it's just something just being able to pivot and go on to the next thing and refocus.
It's at a certain point, if breaking news happens all the time, which I agree with, then it's not
Yeah,
breaking news. But that's either here nor there because there will always be the breaking news graphic on top of every news.
right.
Um, so in order to go into media, you have to be some level of crazy. I don't care. You
Yeah.
whether it's you're sacrificing your free time, realizing that you're not working a 9 to 5, that you're going to be around triple homicides, or you're going to be around teams when they're super happy or they're super sad. It doesn't matter. You got to have some level of craziness to go into media. Is your craziness like your crazy drive in your career, your professional career, the same as it is in your running career? Like, is there any correlation? Like,
Yeah, I think it's very similar. In running, it's kind of just like, hey, I'm gonna try to PR in this race. I'm gonna try to keep up with these people that I've never kept up with before. Which happened in my 5K this year. I had a race and I dropped, I think, 36 seconds off my time just
oh
because I
wow.
was like, hey, I'm gonna try this. If I fail and blow up by the end of it, then that happens. But I at least want to give myself that chance to do it. And I think that's very similar to media, where it's like, hey, I want to try this new thing. Never done it before, but we'll see how it goes. I think yeah, there definitely is a correlation there.
Why do you love media?
I love being able to tell people's stories. I think it's really cool being able to connect with so many new people that you never thought you'd connect with before and being able to cover things that other people don't get to be there for. I think it's just a really, really cool experience, just being able to share stories and then also that level of being, it's something that you can improve at too. It's something you can keep getting better and keep working at, which I love. So yeah, I just think it's an amazing way to just tell people stories and reach out to new people and let people have their voices be heard.
Is it cool also that in running, you said you cut 36 seconds off of your 5K? That's tangible difference. In media, you can see difference, but it's sometimes more discreet. It's
Yeah.
not how fast or slow your package is. It's, oh, how's my cadence? What perspectives am I getting? How are you able to track how you improve, considering that track, I just realized I made a pun. Um, Considering that in your running career, it's very easy to track your improvement because it's just time based.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool having something that's not like time-based. It's something that's not like there's no solid indicator of, oh, I've gotten better. It's I feel like you kind of feel it out yourself and you kind of know for yourself. Oh, I like how I'm doing this now and you can for me, I can watch back packages that I made in high school. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that's something that we actually put like on YouTube for my whole school to see. So it's kind of cool just kind of seeing how I've been able to develop and just get more confident and being able to do a live shot confidently or at my internship, being able to have a photographer just hand me a mic and say, go shoot a stand up right now and being able to actually get up there and do that. Whereas in high school, I probably would have been like, you're crazy. I'm not doing that right now. I'm not ready. But just being able to take those like chances and yeah, being comfortable with it, I think is really cool to see just how I've grown that way.
How have you been able to gain confidence as a reporter and also as a runner? And is there any correlation with how you improved on your confidence?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just being able to put yourself in situations where you don't really know what's going on, but you're confident in yourself to do it. One of those things with track this year was my coaches put me in a 1500 and I was like, you're crazy. I don't do this. I do 5K. That's my thing. But I realized for a 1500, I'm out there for under 5 minutes. So who really cares if it goes so terribly awful? I can try a new thing. I can put myself at the front of the race, which I really haven't done much before until this year. And I had a couple go well, and so that was when I kind of realized, okay, I can keep up with bigger, like faster people, bigger races. I can do that for myself. And it's that same thing with reporting as well, where it's like, okay, I'm working with someone other reporters, especially with GWTV, where I'm like, okay, you guys have had all of these crazy cool internships. You're doing amazing. Okay, I can be on set with you and also anchor with you. It's something that you just kind of learn to do it for yourself and to grow that confidence by working with other people who are better than you and learning from them.
From my experience in media, I think it sometimes can be very hard for me to be proud of myself because I'm always shooting for more, and also it's a very visible industry. I can see my my peers doing great things, and I'm always trying to make sure that I'm maximizing myself. And obviously, in running and being any D1 athlete, you can see what other people are doing and all their success. How do you stay proud of yourself? Like,
Yeah,
what's your mantra with that?
right. It's taking the small wins, I feel like. Just seeing, okay, here's one good thing I did in this race. Even if I placed dead last, I at least did this one thing this time. I think that's really important, especially being in like going to school in DC, there's people doing incredible stuff everywhere. I've had a lot of friends who they're having these awesome, awesome internships at the like national level stations. And so it's like, okay, here's what I'm doing at mine. Here's something cool I did at mine. I'm proud of that. It's not getting caught up in like LinkedIn and stuff like that and seeing what people post. It's like, okay, that's cool. That's awesome. I can be happy for you while still being proud of myself. I don't have to be doing the same exact thing as everybody else. And it's definitely the same with running, where it's like, okay, at least I tried doing this time, even if it didn't work. I know I tried it, so now I know I can try to do something else. So I'm happy with myself for that.
Gonna veer in a different direction now.
Yeah.
You wish was different about the way women's sports were covered?
Yeah, it's tough because there's really not a lot of coverage at all, especially for just cross country and track at my school in general. Both the men's and women's teams don't really get very much coverage, but I've also covered men's basketball and women's basketball, and it's a lot easier for me to get into a women's basketball game to cover it than it is for a men's basketball game. And I wish that was different because especially I've at the college level, we have schools have a lot of women's teams that sometimes that are performing better than their men's teams. It just kind of depends on the sport, depends on the school, depends on the program. And there are some like teams at my school that are so deserving of having more coverage. But it's tough because men's basketball makes a lot of the money for our school. So that's just by default what's going to receive more coverage. So I think it's something where if I can at least go and I can try to get like women's team stories out. That's something at my level that I can start doing. And then maybe someone else will see it and be like, oh, that's cool. I like that. And then they try to do it too. But yeah, I really wish we received a lot more coverage. Unfortunately, it's something where I think we're starting to get a little bit more. But it's one of those things that's just gonna take time.
Is that kind of going back to that same mindset of just like small victories? Because you were just saying like, hey, if I could do something, then maybe that helps someone else do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is just those small victories, taking things by that small step at a time, and also just having patience.
So I saw on your Instagram that you actually received NIL. One, I'm jealous, but I have no reason to get NIL. I mean, I know that the McNeese State manager did,
Yes.
which was really cool, but that's usually reserved for athletes. Um, Obviously, as you know, there's a lot of people who are very pro NIL, and there's a lot of people who are vehemently against it. Does being a student athlete and a student journalist make you see both sides of that argument more?
Yeah, I absolutely do see both sides of it. It is something that is getting kind of crazy. I know I've seen people make like a whole living off of it while they're still in college, which is crazy to me. I have not made nearly that much. Um,
Not
it's
yet.
but yeah, no, I definitely see both sides of it where it can be a cool thing for athletes, but I do understand why people are arguing for regulations on it because it can get very, very, very crazy. I do support being like student athletes being able to do that for themselves and kind of like market themselves in a way. But yeah, no, I totally understand both sides. And I think being a student journalist, I've kind of just been trained to, okay, see both perspectives on this, like try to get both sides of it, like interview people who disagree. So it's definitely that kind of same thing where I understand both ways.
I would say though, and this is I'm asking you through the athlete lens, you also got to take care of yourself. Like any athlete, you got to take care of yourself, and opportunities are sparse, especially like in this economy. Like opportunities can be sparse. You gotta jump on that opportunity.
Yeah, and I will say, one of those things being a student athlete, having a schedule where I can't really get a job.
Yeah.
I sometimes do photography stuff, but I don't really have time to do full-time or even part-time job when I have practice and I have class and I have internships as well. So that kind of takes up all my time. So it is kind of nice when I'm able to, okay, just do like these 2 or 3 posts promoting this product and we'll send you this amount of money. It is nice to have that.
What does that mean to you? Just that people are reaching out saying like, "Hey, we think we you can help our business." And do you like, I mean, that has to be so flattering.
Yeah, I think it is a really cool thing. And especially for me, it's one of those things where I kind of get to use my, like, I incorporate my media skills into it, which I
Yeah,
think for me is really fun. Because with journalism, you don't do as much of that, like, creative stuff. You're not promoting anything,
yeah,
absolutely. But so I think it's kind of cool because for me, I get to take a project and I get to plan out what I'm gonna do. Like, here's where I'm gonna go for this. Here's the day I'm gonna shoot on. So I kind of like it because I get to have my own creative vision with it which I think has been really fun. And it definitely is flattering when somebody reaches out and they're like, "Hey, we want you to promote this." It is a really cool feeling.
for sure. I can only envy you. Um, two more questions, and it might turn into three, but we'll see. When did
Sounds
you
good.
realize you wanted to be a journalist?
Yeah, I realized I wanted to be a journalist growing up. My dad was a sports reporter at Fox 32 Chicago. So I would get to go to the studio with him, and I always thought it was the coolest thing when he'd be out interviewing players. I was like, there's no way you get to meet these people. He has such cool stories from before I was born, covering Michael Jordan,
Oh wow.
insane stuff like that. So I just kind of saw him have so much fun with it. It was something that he always loved. Whenever he was in front of the camera, he was just so excited to do it. And I just saw his passion for it. And I was like, that's cool. You can have a job and absolutely love what you're doing. And so I've always just kind of known I wanted to do that. So then in high school, we had a broadcast journalism class, and I was like, yes, I'm absolutely getting involved with this. I had a great teacher. She was awesome. She really helped me learn and just kind of improve my skill. So that was really cool. And she really like encouraged me to do it in college. So that was kind of the pathway for me. And now it's cool having my dad be able to check my stuff, see what I'm doing, and he's like, okay, here's where you can improve next time. But also like this is great. And then also just being able to kind of have his network too, be able to meet new people through that is really awesome, especially as I get older and I need more and more connections to get into the industry. But yeah, it's been really awesome just having him kind of as a mentor growing up.
So your biggest critic?
I he's very, very supportive. He does give me very good constructive criticism, which is awesome for me. But he really is, for the most part, just like super supportive and excited about it, which is awesome.
That's cool. When you
Yeah.
realized, whether it was when you were in the studio as a kid or in your high school class, and you realized like this is what I want to pursue completely, what is something that you wish you could tell yourself back then that you know now?
Yeah, I wish I could tell myself back then that like to have more fun with it too. I think a lot of the time, like, especially now too, like I get stressed about it. I get stressed about what I'm doing, but just to kind of realize, hey, this is really, really cool. There, not many people at all get to do this. Not many people get to cover stories like this. I think in high school, I was getting really stressed over applying to colleges. I was like, oh, I need to be doing X, Y, and Z to get into this school. Like, I need to focus on my other classes, but just to have fun with what I'm doing at the time. It's a lot of things are really not as big and scary as you think they are in the moment. And that's something that I continue to tell myself now. But yeah, that would be the main thing.
Thank you so much for your time, Ashley.
Thank you.